Felix Rosenqvist. We are sitting here in the very first Day at Indy podcast for the 2019 month of May, brought to us by Cooper Tires, something that you raced on in Indy Lights, and the Justice Brothers. I don't know if there's a great galactic decision that was made here. I know that a young rookie from another team was possibly going to be on the podcast today. Their team decided he couldn't be available, which was kind of funny. And before they told me that, I reached out to your man Kelby Krause from Chip Ganassi Racing and said, let's get Felix lined up. Not saying the podcast has anything to do with your pole position. I'm just saying it feels like the right guy got it. Tell us about this lap, man.
Thanks, man. It was a tough qualifying. That was one of the toughest qualifyings I've done, because I don't know if you looked at the lap times during the session, but it was like every time I passed, I would be P1 or P2. And then
you'd come around and you'd be P6.
Yeah, or P7 or P8. And it was like that all the time. So my last lap was always, in every run, it was the one that got me through. Otherwise, I would not have been through. Even in the Firestone Fast 6, the last lap got me from, I think, P6 to P1. So, yeah, it just takes a lot of mental calm. And, you have to be a bit of an Iceman out there to just, trust yourself, trust the car, focus, don't get distracted by anything, and make good laps, but you also cannot do mistakes. Like today you couldn't make mistakes. Like one lock up and you would be out of it. It was tough, and I'm happy the hard work paid off, and also having Scotty there on the second position is amazing. It's a good feeling going into turn 1 tomorrow.
Share with us, if you would, Felix. We heard from a lot of drivers on the exact point you made about just a razor's edge of margin of either being perfect and fast or a wheel off, a lock, something on the grass. What would you say that was being caused by? Was it one thing, the cool ambient? Is it new tire compound? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's tighter here than it's ever been this year. I find that the cooler temperatures allows you to drive the tire through a wider window. So like, let's say you come in a bit hot in the corner and you add a bit more lock, like the tire still hangs on, whilst like when it's hotter, it would just give up and you would have like aborted the corner, or you would have made a mistake basically. So everyone is allowed to like push so hard because the tire can do it. But then still, like when the grip goes, it goes even more because you're pushing it so hard. Like you're throwing in the car so quick that, at some point when it breaks, it's going to break hard. So it's just about, sniffing on that edge and being there all the time. And it's, I think it's also about making your car. That's something I learned this year, like making your car not the quickest, but the way you can drive it at 99% every lap. And that's why I could today. And that's something really new for me this year, that, learning from the best and learning from your mistakes.
Let's talk a little bit about this relationship you have developed with your crew, whether it's your crew chief, Ricky Davis, who's just the best, Julian Robertson, the big brain at Ganassi that's been around forever. I think folks should know you've done enough racing despite still being a young guy. You've had to learn to work with a lot of new people rapidly in a lot of championships. Do you think that has played a role here in your ability to be right there with this team with new folks who really don't maybe fully know yet?
Good point. It's been a lot of new faces the last 3 years for me. New faces in Japan and in Spain, in England, in the US. So, but I've found that, the good thing here has been that everyone in this team really believes in me, because I think when Chip picks a driver, automatically everyone in the crew believes in that driver. It's not like you have to prove massively to gain everyone's respect. Obviously, like the first test, you have to make sure you're not 2 seconds off your teammate. But once you've shown that you're within tenths and not seconds, I think you have the full support. And it's a fun group of characters. Like, it takes time to get to know people, obviously, but now we've been here for almost half a year, and I've known everyone from before as well. And Yeah, it's a tight group, and this group have been there for a long time. That's the really cool thing, that everyone on the 10 car crew except me are basically been there. Yeah, since I was like 10 years old.
Since I was 3 years old.
Yeah, especially Julian, as you mentioned. He's been the chief engineer in our team for, I think, around 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's always something to learn, and I think they appreciate the new breeze of fresh air that I bring as well, because there's been some things that I brought and contributed, obviously, but obviously I'm probably the one learning the most still. So
I think he just said, Kelby, that Scott's kind of old and worn out and people are sick of him. I'm reading into things here a little bit, Felix. So obviously you were out there driving your behind off, focusing on your job. When you're pulling in, looking at the scoring pylon at the end of the Fast Six or qualifying in general, give us your thoughts on looking up and seeing not only you as a rookie on pole, Jack Harvey P3, right? Great for him and the Meyer Shank Racing team. Colton Herta P4, Ed Jones, again, another young driver. We've been trying not to oversell this thing this year, but you damn rookies are letting the vets know you're coming for their lunch.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, today it felt like almost everyone could have been, in the Fast Six. But yeah, it was really cool to see. I mean, Jack is a good buddy of mine, so yeah, good to see him up there. I know how hard he works, to get this thing going, and he doesn't even do the full season. So I mean, to be third in qualifying and in the Firestone Fast Six, that's amazing for him. And Ed and Colton, and yeah, as you say, it's a lot of young guys up there. Obviously, Scott being in the middle there, like always. Yeah, it's a strong. I think honestly, like rookie or not, it's a strong field straight through. I mean, there's no bad drivers in IndyCar for sure.
Share some thoughts, if you would, Felix, about tomorrow. We've heard there's the potential of rain. We're not exactly sure what we're going to have for weather conditions. This is going to be your first time blasting down this crazy long straight backwards into turn one. You've probably seen footage of people making asses out of themselves. Turn one, lap one. It's a lot of stuff to consider. What's going through your mind, approach-wise at least?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it is talking to, as I said, the guys who've been here for a while, how you approach a start like that. Obviously, you have to make a mark somewhere where you want to give it a gas. Yeah, and I mean, I have Scott next to me, and that's a big comfort going into turn one. Yeah, this specific turn one has had some history, definitely, of some T-bone action.
We'll save the T-bones for dinner, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough one, and being front row with Scott next to me is not going to be any better way of starting the race. So I try to see it on the positive side, and it's going to get difficult anyway. So you just have to get ready for someone having a massive draft or someone breaking late. There's a big variety of things that can happen down there.
Let's close on a question or two that folks sent in. Michael Goodyear asks, looking back to the origins of the current Chip Ganassi Racing team, we've got Scott Dixon as an Indy Lights champion, you as an Indy Lights front runner and race winner as well. Michael's curious how your time in Indy Lights with the Belardi Racing team not only came about, but how do you think that might have helped you coming back here doing some things that you're familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, that was it was kind of a critical point in my career, because I was out of a seat. I didn't have anywhere to go. I had a couple of deals going that I didn't think were good enough for being the Formula 3 European champion, and the whole Belardi thing came along, and it was Brian Belardi who talked with my manager, and he was able to offer something pretty good, and we went for it. And I had a program in as a reserve driver in DTM and GT driver with Mercedes at the time, I didn't do all the races, but I'm really happy I did that, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be in IndyCar today. So yeah, that's still a big thanks to Brian, because he's the one who introduced me to the American scene, and I think also what I learned there was the culture, the American culture, which is very different to what I'm used to. So
have you accepted our craziness yet?
Not yet. Yeah, I'm getting there.
It's going to take a couple of years, son. You're all good there. Well, we're obviously glad to have you. We're obviously glad to see you achieving the things now early on that we knew there wasn't a question. Anyone that's followed your career knew that these kinds of things were going to happen, and it probably wasn't going to take too long. Another question here to close comes in from Driver Connection, wondering whether the IMS road course or oval you would consider to be the most challenging or difficult, and why?
I mean, the oval is always going to be, I mean, I think it's the most challenging track in the world. I mean, I've only done like 100 laps, and still I say that. You know, I've driven on Macau, which is a very tough challenge. But still in Macau, like if you're in the lead, you're not gonna finish 10th. I mean, as long as you don't crash. But at the 500, like if you have a good car in the beginning, and then things start happening, you get out of shape. I mean, you can go from first to last. You can drop down the order big time, and we've seen that happen so many times. Or you can get something going into your radiator. You can get some lapped guy, cutting across, and I mean, there's just a million things that can happen in that race, and that's the beauty of it. But I think as a race, as a month, you would call it, that has to be the most difficult one for sure. I mean, this is a tough one as well, but I mean, it's nothing. I mean, we have tougher races than the Indy road course. We have, Long Beach and Laguna and all those, the corkscrew and what have you. So. Yeah, I think it's tough, but it's not a crazy track in that sense.
We'll see here in about 24 hours, my man, whether you're right back in that seat. We're talking about your race win. Felix, congratulations on the pole, and look forward to seeing how tomorrow goes for you.
Thanks, Marshall.
And up next is a quick conversation with Pato O'Ward. Walking through Gasoline Alley, saw our pal and said, hey, this Red Bull Junior program, what can you tell us? So some insights there, no real top secret things. I don't know if he knows any of the top secret plans they might have for him, or if he's having to keep those things to himself, but wanted to catch up with him briefly. So we'll roll into that right now, and then we will close for our very first day at Indy here on a balmy, overcast, not super happy May 10th in Indianapolis. Mr. O'Ward, I wasn't expecting to see you here, but I don't know if you saw some news on the internet, but some kid that has a name a lot like yours apparently became a Red Bull Junior driver. What can you tell us about this? How did it come together?
Yeah, I saw that yesterday on the news. I'm excited for him. No, I mean it's a huge opportunity for my career. There's honestly nothing concrete yet of what my future may look like. But obviously, we're talking about two of the best series in the world, Formula One and I'm in IndyCar right now. So I'm really privileged to be in the position that I'm in, and I'm just looking forward to what the pieces fall into in the future. Right now, as I said, there's nothing concrete, so I can't say I'm leaving. I can't say I'm staying, because I'd be lying both ways. But I just, I wanna continue doing a really good job in IndyCar. I want to get the results that I feel like we deserve. We've been putting a lot of hard work. The Carlin boys have been really, really, working hard and trying to finesse everything that we've just been missing a little bit. And we've been all, working hard, and we're all looking forward to this big push. So we are looking for some good races ahead, but as in me in another series or something, I don't know yet, because I would be lying if I told you what I knew I was gonna do.
So you're wearing a Red Bull hat right now, a Red Bull jacket. I like that. I might have to see if I can get one of my size. Do they make quadruple extra fat? Looking at what folks are saying or thinking or hoping, at least so far, just in the last 24 hours, it's, so Toro Rosso for sure, and he's going to be teammates with this person or that person. Do you allow yourself to start thinking? Do you just wait to hear from Dr. Marco? I mean, it feels like you're in an interesting place where you know something could happen, but you've committed to not knowing exactly what.
Yeah, so like I'm in a position where something really, really big can come up and it can really, really help my career. To be associated with such a strong and successful team like Red Bull is huge. Just not just for me, but for any driver, and to have their support is really big. So I feel really privileged, and I'm proud of myself that I've gone to this point. I'm trying to continue as the Pato that I've always been. I want to have fun. Because if you're doing this and you're not having fun, then why are you doing this? The whole point is for you to have fun, but obviously, give results. I'm a driver that likes to win. I don't like to be in the back. That's why we do this. And Red Bull, the Red Bull guys are winners. They like to win. They like to perform, and I feel like my way of doing things fits right in. So. I'm excited to see what the future holds for me, but as of now, I really have no idea what exactly is going to happen in the near future. But I think some good things might be heading my way, which I really hope so, because this year has been a roller coaster so far.
I know you got to run here, Pato. Let's close with this. Don't know exactly what your future is going to be. We know we're going to have you in IndyCar for the rest of the year. Knowing that the Red Bull Junior driver program tends to be one that is very heavy in terms of development. Put you in this car here, test drive, simulator, who knows what kind of stuff. Yeah. Have you at least looked at your calendar to say if those things were to come at you, you might be able to fit that into your Carlin obligations at IndyCar?
I think I will, because with the minor schedule changes that I might have in the future, there are some openings where I might have to be over there and work with the sim or those kind of things. Haven't gone to schedule yet, but I have some spaces. I do have some spaces available. For example, in August, I've got some spaces in June. July is decently packed, but June and August are pretty open for me to be able to do whatever Red Bull may require me to do. So I'm obviously open to helping them in any way that I can. We'll just have to see how it plans out, because as of right now, I have all the IndyCar stuff, and then just waiting to see if I'm gonna have some additions to my racing calendar.
Have you digested the fact that this Friday a year ago you were preparing to qualify for an Indy Lights race? Today you're actually thinking about a future that might include some pretty crazy stuff?
Yeah, it's like I said, the past few months have been, it's racing goes from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, and I've gotten a taste of that the past 6 months to what potentially could be one of the highest of highs, and I was at a point at the lowest of lows. So I've just been everywhere, but I think it helps you mature as a kid. I feel like I got exposed to a lot of things, and I'm just looking forward to growing, and let's see what else heads my way, right?
And that was Felix Rosenqvist, your pole sitter from the Chip Ganassi Racing team in the number 10 NTT Data Honda. Awesome for young Felix. We will see how he does tomorrow. And also then closing with our man Pato O'Ward. Not quite as happy in qualifying, P20, but nonetheless, he clearly has some big things on the horizon. No news as to where he's going in 2020. I will just say that having read something from my Racer.com colleague Chris Medland, full-time Formula One reporter who spoke with some of the team principals involved with Red Bull Racing and Toro Rosso did put a column together here that says Pato is in line for becoming a reserve driver and test driver, possibly for Toro Rosso quickly. And could that turn into a race seat next year? Very possibly, I would say. So, looks like big things are coming for Pato. Not exactly sure what the rest of his year is going to look like, as he mentioned, but how phenomenal is it to think that the 2018 Indy Lights champion has been signed to a very important career-changing contract that could have him in Formula One much sooner than anyone might expect. Know that I read a couple things, some comments from folks saying, well, I wonder if they're going to move him into Formula 2. Would say that anything that would allow him to learn a lot of the tracks in Europe that he might be racing on in Formula 1 would be a very smart play. Would also just mention that Pato won our equivalent of the Formula 2 championship. So from a training standpoint, sending him through that same level again, not exactly sure that is what a Red Bull or Toro Rosso might be eyeing with him. But nonetheless, it's going to be fascinating to learn more as Red Bull and Toro Rosso make those plans known, hopefully here in the near future. All right, this is the very first day at Indy for the 2019 month of May. Here we are, May 10th. Look forward to speaking to you tomorrow, May 11th, after the Indy Grand Prix. I'm Marshall Pruitt. This is a Marshall Pruitt podcast brought to you by Cooper Tires and the Justice Brothers. Thank you for listening.